everyone, my name is Victoria and I thought I would take some time to show you how to make a pom-pom pet. This is a little piggy and so I was thinking we could make that together. If you'd like to follow along, I would love for you to join me. You're going to need some yarn. My little pig is going to be pink, but you can make your pig any color you'd like. If you want to do a green one, you can always do an Angry Birds themed one. But you're going to need about 4 yards of yarn. If you go to the store, they get sold in skeins, which is a big bundle. Each skein has about 350 yards, give or take. So you only need about 4 yards. So just keep that in mind if you decide to buy all the materials, you might have a little extra yarn. I love this yarn. This is from Hobby Lobby. Otherwise, Red Heart is another really good brand. I find I love this yarn a little bit softer, and so that's why I like to use it. And so you're going to need about 4 yards. If you don't have a handy dandy measuring tape, I find that the tip of one of your hands to the opposite shoulder is about 36 inches. So if you just want to take your yarn and measure out 36 4 times, and then go ahead and give that a cut, you'll end up with a nice little bundle of yarn. Next, you're gonna need a fork. I would recommend a large fork, preferably with 4 prongs. If you don't have 4 prongs and you have 5 prongs, try to pick, you're gonna need something kind of in the middle of the fork. Otherwise, if you are forkless, I can show you how to do it with your fingers. You're also going to need some scissors. These are thread cutters. I find that these is really nice. It gives a nice sharp cut and it gets you through the yarn really well. You will also need some paper. I like cardstock. Construction paper works great as well. Preferably pink to match your yarn. Otherwise, white would work. And in this instance, a pink highlighter will do the trick. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, you'll also need some glue. I use fabric glue. I kind of took the label off this one, but fabric glue should work. Otherwise, just regular craft glue should work. And then I use beads for my eyes. If you don't have beads or don't want to buy a bunch, a black pen or Sharpie on some white paper or pink paper should do the trick, and I can show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I mentioned, you're going to need 4 yards of pink yarn. You will also need about 12 more inches. So just make sure you cut one little tidbit that's about 12 inches long. We're going to start with our fork. So like I said, if you have a 4-pronged fork, go ahead and use the middle. You're going to take your yarn and put it in the middle of the fork, just like that, and you'll have 2 tails. Go ahead and hold on to your 2 tails with your hand so that they don't get lost. Same thing again if you have an odd numbered prong fork, just hold on to your tails. If you don't have a fork or want to try something new, go ahead and try your hand. So you're going to use your first 2 fingers, put your 12-inch piece of yarn through your 2 fingers. I wrap the tail around to the front and then hold it with my other fingers like this. So my 2 tails are in the palm of my hand. It's wrapped around my first finger. And then with your 4 yards of yarn, once I find the tail, we're going to start to wrap it around either your fork or your finger. I have it not. There we go. So you're going to take the end of your 4 yards. If you're using your fingers, just pinch it between the 2 and then just start wrapping all the way around. If you are doing this on your fork, again, we want it through the middle prong. Go ahead and have your thumb, I'm right-handed, otherwise left-handed should be the exact same way, just the other way around. Have your tail, hold it with your thumb, and then start wrapping. Once you have a few wraps around and it's holding your tail firm, you can move your thumb and then just keep wrapping all the way around. And try to keep the yarn relatively in the middle of your fork or your finger. Don't go up and down the fork. Just try to stick in the same spot. If you get a knot in the yarn, that's totally fine. Gives personality to your pig. Okay, so once you have gotten all the way around, this is where our two tails come in handy. So from the back of the fork, so there's the front, the back, you're going to take the back tail, lift it up and put it back through the center of your prongs. Now if you're using your odd numbered fork, remember which prong you originally put it on and just weave it through the same one. So this is the exact same with your fingers. Just pull it through, so you have your two tails in the front, like this. Pretend there's yarn right here. Take the back one from your palm and just wrap it up so it looks like this. And then right here's the yarn. This is what your fork and your fingers should look like. And then once you have that, so we have both our tails now on the front side of the fork, you're going to tie a simple knot. It helps if you put it on the table. Tie just a simple knot, pull it down. You want it to have relatively tight, just one knot for now, so that way you can hold all the yarn together. And then from there, slide it off your fork or slide it off your fingers. And then you want to pull this as tight as you can. So it's a really tight knot, and then tie a second knot to keep it secure. Again, this is a lot easier if you can do it on table and or if you have an extra finger or hand. So you should have a pom-pom that looks something like this, with two long tails and then a bunch of rounded up unmade pom-pom. If you have, this is your tail, you can leave it there, don't worry about cutting it. That will actually help fill your pig. So, tidbit, if this is orange yarn, this makes a really cute pumpkin. If you just glue a little piece of brown paper as like a stem of the pumpkin, you can just cut these off and you just have a cute little pumpkin. So fun fall decoration. Anyways, next step is we're going to cut our pom-pom because we want our pig to be nice and fluffy. So using our scissors, you can use bigger scissors, it's just more difficult and complicated. I recommend nothing bigger than about this size, just due to the fact that the blades themselves get too fat and they don't get into the ball of yarn very well, versus these ones are nice and tiny and they get in really well. So on our pom-pom, we have rows and rows of these loops. We want to cut the loops at the peak of where they are. So we want to put our scissors in and cut, and they should start to fray a little bit. And once you kind of get in there, you should be able to just slide your scissors in and they'll start to spread like that. So you want to go all the way around. P.S. This is a little bit on the messy side. It's a little bit on the dusty side because we are cutting acrylic yarn, but it'll be cute at the end, I promise. So we want to go all the way around. You don't have to cut your tails yet. I actually recommend holding them a little bit long for now. And then once you're done, if you give it a little bit of a fluff, roll it around in your hand, we now have a weird looking pom-pom. Don't worry, it will look better soon. So now that we have our pom-pom, look down the center and see if you've missed any of your arches. And if you did, just go ahead and give them a little snip. If you don't, that's totally fine. Again, it's more texture and more personality for your pig. Next, I recommend going maybe outside or just directly over a garbage can, because this part is the messy part. We're going to form our pig. So what you can do is you can hold onto your two tails. It just gives you a little bit more secure. That way if you accidentally drop it, you're not actually dropping it. So hold on to your tails, and with your scissors, I find that if you put your thumb and forefinger just over the middle of the pom-pom, it's pretty secure. You can feel it's a little bit dense. That's a safe spot to hold on to, and it also helps form your circle. So again, holding on to our tails, and then with our thumb and forefinger, we're going to hold it, and then we're just going to cut around the pom-pom. We're going to make it round. So go ahead and just cut all those loose tails. You can use your fingers to rotate it. We want to make everybody roughly the same size. Just when you get to your tails, just move them out of the way. We'll trim them later. So trim around your tails till you go all the way around. And if you find another little one that you missed, just go ahead and give it a little snip. Okay, when you think it looks good, that's awesome. Go ahead and give it a little shake in the garbage can, give it a little roll in your hand, roll it like you're doing a ball of cookie dough, and then your pom-pom should look relatively round. If you find that it's not, that's totally fine. Like I said, each pig is a little bit different, and some might be more chunky than others, some might be less round than others, but it's up to you and how you'd like to design your pig. Just go ahead and give it a little haircut. Once you're good with that, say goodbye to the garbage can. We can now trim our tails. So where the pom-pom goes, just go ahead and give it a little snip and say goodbye, tails. There we go. So we now have a pink pom-pom. Wasn't that fun? That's like the funnest part right there. Okay, so go ahead and lay your pom-pom down and determine what side you'd like to be the top or the bottom. Because this is where you put your fingers, that would be the top or the bottom. Just the way the pom-pom likes to sit. You can do it whatever way, but I personally like to leave that as the top or bottom. So lay it on your table, see how it sits, how it lays, determine which side you'd like. Okay, next is the paperwork. You are gonna want some pink paper. This is cardstock. It's a generic brand from Hobby Lobby, I believe. Otherwise, if you use just regular thin paper, works okay. I find that the ink, if you use any form of pen, likes to bleed through, and the glue kind of makes the paper weaker. So I recommend a cardstock or construction paper. It's a little bit thicker and hardier. You're going to want to get your paper ready. So if you're doing white paper, you're going to want to color it pink. You can do that by either rubbing it with a Sharpie or a highlighter or a marker. I recommend getting about a 2 by 2 inch square. So that's about roughly this size. And so this is about the size you're going to need, a little bit smaller actually. But from your piece of paper, so we're going to need to make a nose, a tail, and 2 ears. So for your ears, I recommend from your piece of paper, if you cut a strip out that's about a 1/2 inch wide, that will do the trick for you. So for your ears, you're going to want to fold it in half, and that will give us a little teepee here. So we fold it in half. So you're gonna wanna either, you can draw this out or you can just wing it. I like to wing it because it gives personality to your ears. But go ahead and on your piece of paper, again, with the 2 here, not the fold, you're gonna start at the bottom and you're going to cut up and then curve up to a point. So cut and then curve to a point. If you want, just keep cutting and then flip it over, and part way over, just go ahead and start cutting up and then curve up to the tip. So then we can throw away our excess. And now we have 2 ears. They should be identical because we didn't cut on the fold and we folded it in half. So we have our 2 pieces. There is a left and a right, so take one of your pieces and just flip it over. Ta-da! So what that looks like is my ears have a slight angle to them. Sometimes they angle in, sometimes they angle out. That's up to you and how you want your pig. So for me, I'm going to have them angle this way. And so now that we have our ears done, something fun that you can do to add a little bit more depth to your pig is you can give them hair. So in our example here, our little piggy, he has those pink little lines. Those look like little hairs. So we're going to go ahead and give our little pig guy some hairs. So from our ears, so decide if you want them facing in or out. Whatever you decide, just make sure that your ears are opposites. So again, make sure that they are the way that you want them to be. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start at the middle base of your ear. and you're going to draw a line up and to the left, and then you're going to go back down to the base, and then you're going to go up and to the right, and you're going to do this 3 to 5 times, whatever tickles your fancy. Okay, so I did 4. So it looks kind of like a hair. A little tidbit, if you're ever drawing and you want a different texture for grass, this is a great way to be able to do that. Just the more stalks that you do, and you can make longer ones and short ones. Anyways, it gives you a fun texture for grass if you're ever interested. Now let's do the other ear. Okay, so just for fun, I decided to give one ear 5 hairs and the other ear 4 hairs. So no one's gonna know the difference. You will, they might notice it, but anyways, it's cute and texture. And so those are my 2 ears. So let's go ahead and talk about a nose and a tail. So from our piece of paper, one reason why I had you do a bigger piece is just in case you mess up, you always have a spare. So we're gonna cut another strip, again, about a 1/2 inch across. So now we have a 1/2 inch by 1 inch, give or take, strip. Cut this one in half. So we have 2 little squares. So we have 1 little square, 2 little squares. This is gonna be our tail and our nose. So if you like, you can try using a hole punch. I find that the nose is a little bit on the small side. This is the size of this particular punch hole. They might have bigger hole punches, but for me, I have a normal size and I have extra tiny. Extra tiny might be helpful for you if you don't have beads for eyes, because this makes a really tiny dot and it's round, and that's really hard to cut. So this might be, if you want to do a bunch of these, this might be a fun investment for you. Any craft store should have those. I think I got most, if not all, of my tools from Hobby Lobby. Okay, nose. So this is a square. We need this to be round. So with our handy dandy little scissors, I recommend smaller scissors. You can do it with bigger ones. It's just more difficult because these are more clunky and harder to negotiate and navigate. So our little ones. So start about halfway up one of the sides of your square. Go ahead and cut, and then rotate the piece of paper and just make a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is for a nose and a tail, so it's really up to you and your perfection level. So here is one circle. We have to do a second one for our tail or nose, depending on which one you want to use. When you are cutting your circle, if you find that one is bigger, use the bigger one for the tail. It's better in general for your tail, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, little tidbit, do you want to see my new kitten? Come here, baby. This is Boo. Hi. She's been like super hyper, and you may have seen her running around in the back. I'm doing this in my garage, and this is a new area for her. So she's having a blast running around causing mayhem. Be free. Okay. Anyways, back to our pig. So we have a big circle and a little circle. So because I have 2 different size circles now, I'm going to use the bigger one for my tail and the smaller one for my nose. So let's go ahead and talk about the tail first. So this is our little example of a pig, and this is our little curly-Q tail. This is our little curly-Q tail for our pig. So it looks scary. It's not scary. I'll walk you through it step by step. Don't worry. So you can write this out with a pencil or a pen if you'd like, or you can just eyeball it. Again, you have extra paper, so if you want, you can cut this into 4 pieces and you can try it 4 times. I do find that the tail is probably one of the more complicated parts of our pig, but it will turn out really cute. So with our tail, we're going to want to start, make a little incision and then just start cutting and gradually get smaller and smaller into your circle. So it's kind of it's kind of like a shell, like a seashell or like cinnamon rolls. You're just going to make a cinnamon roll swirl. So you're just going to cut all the way around, and then I find that the tip of the scissors helps you make those sharp corners. And you just keep going until you're good. Okay, so then carefully stretch it out. Don't rip it, otherwise you're trying it again. Anyway, so here is our little pigtail. Isn't it cute? So anyways, kind of small. It's hard to hold and show off, so I'm sorry. But anyways, it's cute and it's a cute little tail. Okay, let's talk about a nose. So for our pig, most people who draw them have two options of drawing a pig. We have the dot method or the parallel line method. So I have two examples here that I want to show you. So from our pre-made little pig, we have two dots. Very cute. I like this method. It's adorable. So we have the dot. Otherwise, this pig is half done because I only did half of it. Has two lines, so kind of like the number 11 or parallel lines. So these are our two options for our pigs. So this is our Pompom Pet Pig. So decide which nose you would like, and from there go ahead and just draw it onto your nose. So if you want your dots, do dot dot. If you want your lines, do an 11. And then with that, we are almost ready to assemble. Okay, we do need to talk about eyeballs real quick. So I like to use beads. These are really tiny. You can get them at almost any craft store. Again, I probably got mine at Hobby Lobby. They do have two different sizes. This is the smaller variety. I find that it makes cuter eyeballs. So yeah, just that little tidbit for you. So now we need our glue. So like I mentioned earlier, I use fabric glue. This is just a generic one from Hobby Lobby probably, but Elmer's glue or craft glue should work just as well. I caution you against hot glue guns. I haven't actually personally worked with one in this situation before, so I don't know how the hotness works with the yarn, and I do know, excuse me, that hot glue guns like to be stringy. I don't like to mess with the strings, so that's why I like the cold, wet glue versus a hot glue gun. That's my 2 cents. Okay, so when working with glue, I personally have this little bottle. It actually came in a kit for pom-pom making. It's really nice. It has it's dirty, I apologize. Okay, let's talk about glue. I have a generic fabric glue. Otherwise, any regular craft glue should work. I'm not sure about hot glue guns. I'm not sure how the heat handles well with our yarn for our pom-pom. So that's up to you if you want to try it. Leave a comment if you do try it out with a hot glue gun, see how it works. I have this little handy dandy little bottle. This came in a kit for making pom-poms. Pom-pom pets actually. And so this I find is really helpful for getting the glue into tight, precise places. So anyways, I find that nice. If you don't have a little bottle, you can always use this one. Just be careful when squeezing the glue out because you don't want to explode glue onto your pom-pom pet. It's messy and you'll probably have to start over. So a good alternative is to actually put a little bit of glue, a nice little dollop, on a piece of cardstock. And if you have a toothpick, this makes for a handy dandy little brush. And so you can pick up a little bit of glue and then dab it from your toothpick to your pom-pom. And that might be another precise way to work around if you don't have a small little bottle. Okay, so we have our ears, we have our nose, and we have our tail. We also have our eyes. So let's go ahead and assemble. This is the fun part, another fun part. So with our pom-pom pet, we want to choose whether it's going to be this way or that way or this way. Just make sure you do choose something where it rests pretty naturally. So if you find that this way works really well, but if you want it to stand up, you can probably dab it a little bit to give it more of a base so that it will stand. If you squish it, you can kind of feel there's a more denser spot, and this is actually the shorter pieces of yarn. The center, kind of the belt is wrapping around it. I like to leave that as a top and bottom, but that's just my personal preference. So anyways, go ahead and find how your pom-pom sits pretty naturally. And then you're going to take your glue of choice and go ahead and place 2 little dots of glue. So like I mentioned, see how it stands. You want to put your eyes relatively up because your eyes are a little bit higher up on your face. So anyways, 2 little dots of glue should do the trick. Don't do too much because if you do, the glue might show after it dries. So I just did 2 little dots of glue, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my beads. One more tidbit on beads is the beads, they have a hole. Funny fact, these beads are holy. Okay, and that is because it is a bead. It's a little donut, you can say. So just be wary or be aware of where your bead hole is. Because usually with beads you can thread something through it. Well, that means there's a hole that can go all the way through it, and it kind of looks cool sometimes. This little piggy has one of each. They're really hard to see from the camera. In person, you can kind of see it if you know what you're looking for. But anyways, this eye has the hole of the bead facing you versus this one is the body of the bead. So you can kind of just see a difference. So whatever you do, choose. If you want the hole facing you, just make sure they both face you. Otherwise, it might look like your pig is a little cross-eyed. So anyways, we've glued our eyes to our pig. Next, we want to do the nose. So like I mentioned, you're going to want to choose which nose do you want. We have the lined nose or the dot nose. So choose which one you want. Doesn't matter, they both end up pretty darn cute. And then you're gonna go ahead and put a little dot of glue in between the eyes and a little bit lower, kind of where your nose is located with your eyes and your nose. And then go ahead and glue your little nose. That's kind of a big nose, but that's okay. You're gonna glue your nose to your face. Okay, next we're going to do the ears. That's another fun one. So with the ears, you know generally where ears go on a pig or on anything. So I know I have long fingernails. Pros and cons. Definitely hard to pick stuff up sometimes, but it's nice sometimes. You can also use your scissors if you really want to. But if you want to go ahead and with them closed, you're not cutting anything, just make a little line and just move the yarn so it makes a little part. And then do that to both sides. This just makes it easier for you to put the ear into the pom-pom. So we have 2 little holes now for where we want to put our ears. So go ahead and do a little dot of glue inside the pom-pom. So we made that little indent, we put the glue in there. Now take our ears, make sure they're faced the correct way for you. So, and then just put them in. So while the glue is still wet, things can still move. So that being said, you can adjust your ears accordingly. So if you want them to be more prim and upright, now's the time to change it. If you want more relaxed ears, You can relax it, you can move them up, you can move them down, however you want your pig to be. So just do whatever you think is cutest and let it sit to dry. Once you set it in place, don't move it around because the glue is now starting to cure, and if you wiggle it too much, it might unstick itself. So just FYI. Okay, last but not least, we are almost done. Let's go ahead and just quickly glue the tail on. So very carefully pick up your pom-pom from the top of the head. Try not to touch the ears. We want to flip him over to the back side. So this is the back side of our pig. There's no eyeballs or nose. And with our tail, we have our cute little curly Q tail. We want to glue the biggest circle to the back of the pig. Or you can do it the other way around. It's up to you. I think pigtails are, this is again personal preference, but I think it's cuter if you glue the biggest circle of your cinnamon roll to the back of the pig, and then the little tail kind of just flicks out like that. So anyways, from our pig, take your glue, do another little dollop just in the center back of the pig, and then carefully you can wiggle the glue around a little bit with your tail. That way you get some nice coverage. Try not to get any glue on the little parts, so like the springy part of our tail. Try not to get any glue on that. Just get glue on that first ring so it has something to stick to. And then congratulations, you have just now made a little baby pig. I know this video is going to be like super long. It does not take this long, I promise. I'm just talking a lot. Anyway, so have fun. If you do decide to make any pigs, I'd love to see them. I do have different pom-poms available for sale on my Etsy shop. I'll try to do a link in the description below. And really, honestly, these pom-poms are super fun, super easy, and you can get so creative with them. This is just a pig. This is something simple. You can go as complicated as you like. I've made pom-poms of several different animals, from whales to chickens to birds, horses. I've even made unicorns. You can make a whole bunch of stuff. You can also go into the world of humans if you'd like. I've made pom-poms based off of movie characters, sometimes video game characters, even actual celebrities, and even individuals. It's really fun, and the boundaries are just limited to your own imagination. An example, this is Ursula from The Little Mermaid. So she's a really fun one. She's a lot of paperwork. That's what I like to call the paper step parts. And so you can definitely get really creative in making whoever and whatever you'd like. This is a killer whale that I've made. Really simple. These ones are a little bit more complicated than a pig, because our pigs are just one pom-pom versus our killer whale here is 4 pom-poms. And so maybe in a later video, I'll show you how to make more complicated ones, but the possibilities are almost endless, and nothing's stopping you from just having fun and creating whatever you'd like. Again, feel free to visit my Etsy shop. You can see a bunch of different ones I have posted there. I have some Marvel themed ones, Disney, and lots of different animals, particularly sea life right now. Anyways, thank you so much. If you don't mind, give it a like and a subscription. You can always see what other videos I might post if you want any other inspirations. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye!